Hello, thanks for tuning in and welcome to the pool party. I hope you can swim because we're definitely diving into the deep end with a huge splash of truth, facts, evidence, information, and proof. Swim. Say what you mean. It's talk about talking. How we listen, how we hear, how we speak, how we hear what we're listening to when we speak, how a listener hears what we're saying, if what we're saying, what they're actually hearing and or understanding. Is it clear? Swim. Say what you mean. Well, that's just the beginning of understanding, because after we get that understanding, how do we accept it? How we respond if it's not what we expect is paramount. Are you okay with the truth? Are you man, woman, human, or spiritual enough to accept the truth? Let's find out. Welcome to The Swimming Pool with your host, Travis Bridges.
Yeah, that's me, everybody. It's Wednesday, and it is time for the swimming pool. SWYM. That is the acronym for Say What You Mean. And I like to add mean what you say. It's so important. And each day that I wake up and engage with anybody, I find that many, maybe even most, and if the majority is more than most, I'll say that most people usually don't say what they mean. They say what they feel, what they think, and what they believe. Guess who includes most people, or guess who is included in most people? Me. I like to say it, but I don't like to feel it. Being proven wrong is not always the best feeling, especially if you got this much ego. However, you can't learn or grow without making mistakes. Being flat out, bald-faced wrong sometimes is not bad. It's embarrassing. How about loud and wrong? How about loud and wrong? How about it? You ever known somebody loud and wrong? Well, it happens. And although in society we think of that as embarrassing, and it probably is, it's still the opportunity to grow if we can find a little humility within ourselves. We can grow. There's no one that doesn't enjoy the feeling of any forms of conquering. And some people will go out of their way to cheat, lie, and steal just to win at any and all costs. Just win. It doesn't matter. Not good. My name is Travis Bridges, by the way. Maybe you knew that already, in case you didn't. I am just a guy who believed that I just may be called for such a time of this to bring awareness to how we listen, how we hear, how we pay attention, and what we do with the information along the way within that process. I've studied it. I've witnessed it. I've observed it. I've practiced it. I've prayed over it, slept over it. And I would like to think that I'm fairly knowledgeable in listening and hearing. I don't get everything right, and I know I don't, which is why I'm always eager to engage. I think one illustration, if that's the word I'm looking for, call that supply. That's another long story. I will definitely share that another day. Somebody remind me to talk about supply as it relates to engaging. Ooh, that one's close. But I have no problem listening, hearing, and I will definitely engage in order to learn and grow. It's just who I've become, and I'm not embarrassed, and I won't be ashamed of it in any way, form, or fashion. The topic today, let me see if I can go to it and find it. It's logic and reasoning. Peace and what? Okay, look it up. So I have a video in a few minutes I'm going to share, and I have some definitions I want to go over. And although I like what certain dictionaries say, and it is definitely a principle / point of reference, I like to reason sometimes myself to see how close I get to what has already been established based on how I may think, because my thinking is different, and I'm not embarrassed about that either. I still have I struggle with it sometimes, especially from critics, my close friends who have no problem reminding me of how my thinking is different. Let me find the text today. One of my old friends said something. God, I hope I can find this in time. And I didn't know I would be doing this, but let me find it because I want to share exactly what I'm trying to say now. And I hope I find it. Where is it? Where is it? I know my list is not that long. Oh, here it is right here. I think, where is it? This is what one of my friends said to me. I haven't spoken to her in over a year, and we're catching up on texts. And this is how it goes. I'm going to read it. We kind of break the ice. And she says, hello, good morning, my friend. How are you? I said, I'll say I'm okay. How about yourself? She says, oh, no complaints, Mr. Travis. Life is good, and I am appreciating all my blessings. What's going on in your world, my friend? And I say, only God knows. I could speculate. Does that count? And she says, what? Ha ha ha. Only you can make a simple question intriguing. Okay, so let's go with speculate. Okay, the conversation goes on and we end up catching up just a little bit via text. Still didn't talk to her. Maybe I'll get to talk with her later in the week. But, I'm a little sensitive to name calling. Sorry, I haven't gotten over that, and my therapy is working, but it just hasn't worked yet on me being called out of my name or being called names. I guess I'll have to grow up one day, and I will. I'm working on it. But she says, only you can make a simple question intriguing. I could be offended by that, but I'm going to try not to be. So I'll take it as a compliment. And she said, what's going on in my world? I said, only God knows, but I could speculate. And I thought I was dead on point in saying that, because as much as I can say what I think, feel, or believe, I can't say I really know, because what I'm experiencing, I could explain that, but would it be what's going on in my world? I don't know. So yes, I made that question intriguing, and she allowed me to speculate. And that's exactly what I did, because I could not answer as if I knew. And that's what I think logic and reasoning is. Talking about what you know to be truth and factual. And what I want to do now, I hope I can find it. I didn't expect to do what I just did, so I may have lost my place. Okay, I'm going to give my definition also. But here's a definition of logic.
and I'm going to read it. One of these words, I didn't know I knew what it meant, but I didn't know the context of how it's used in the definition. So maybe I'll look it up too. But logic, according to this publication, is a science that deals with the principles and criteria of validity and inference and demonstration, the science of the formal principle or principles of reasoning. I looked up the word inference, and I'm going to look it up again, but I want to focus on what I find logic to be, and that is a science that deals with the principles and criteria of validity. I talked about inductive and deductive reasoning before. Please look that up on your own, because I could try to make a mess of it, but I won't. But inductive is something that's, that makes sense and kind of, could be true, but definitely not necessarily facts. And deductive reasoning is usually always factual and or true. So it's another situation there. But the principles and criteria of validity. If you find yourself in the standoff, fuss, argument, chaotic situation with anybody at any time, and this goes from individuals, friends, husbands and wives, I like to even say worlds and nations. Logic is a way to get to the bottom of most situations, but we have to understand what logic and reasoning is. One of my favorite books talks about, come on, brother, let's reason together. Reasoning really is a good thing, and it doesn't take much. It just requires the willingness to sit yourself down and be willing to listen, hear, pay attention, and collect information along the way that you can use, throw away, or just put aside for later. But reasoning is necessary in all situations. No one should have to fight physically unless they are a professional athlete in a ring with a referee. But if you're in your house or you're on the streets, try to use wisdom when it comes to defusing situations. If you have family issues, talk about it. Don't get a fat head and start talking and think that you can just get your way just because you talk louder or you get supporters that take your side for whatever reason. Reasoning is always the best policy. I don't know where I heard this, but I thought I heard it in church somewhere. I told y'all I did some time in Sunday school and Bible study a long time ago. I still go now. I kind of go online now more than anything, especially after the service. I'll go and check out what my church be doing later because I think I'd be busy. But I heard it somewhere say that Christians don't take each other to court and they don't fight where they're not supposed to. And somehow or another, it makes sense. If you believe in doing the right thing, the godly thing, the Christian thing, there's no reason to fight ever. And when the Bible talks about reasoning together, you should be able to sit through a few conversations to listen, to hear, to pay attention, and gather information that helps you make a sensible, reasonable, and logical conclusion. Well, Mr. Bridges, what is the definition of logical? And what do you mean by sensible and reasonable? Well, use your own brain to figure it out. Principles and criteria of validity. Judge Judy is one of my favorites, and she says, if something doesn't sound right, it's probably not true.
So I've noticed when she hears cases, she listens. And I've been watching Judge Judy for a very long time. And when I hear the opening statements of both cases, I listen to the opening arguments, and long before the case is over, based on what is presented, I play this game with myself where I rule on how I think she's going to rule based on what I know about her, as well as based on what I've learned about logic, reasoning, and even the law in some cases. I found out the hard way that the law and the truth are not the same, and that the justice system may not always be looking for the truth as much as they're looking for legal procedures to be on point. And I get that. I mean, we've got to find some way to solve chaos, and you got to base it off of something. And justice doesn't always mean just us. I'm going to leave that alone. But with that being said, logic and reasoning is very important. We can save ourselves a lot of headache and heartache if we just at least think about doing it. Just think about it sometimes. If you're a husband and wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, co-worker, don't just be so fast to just say, I'm right, and this is how I feel, and this is what I think, and this is just how it's going to be. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to be corrected. You're not going to, die, hopefully, if, you have to humble yourself and say, okay, maybe what I thought or what I feel just may not be the best or the most effective way to resolve the conflict. And you have to be able to listen, not just to how you feel. You ever heard that saying, sometimes people listen just so that they can respond, or they're waiting for an opportunity to respond instead of listening to being observant and open? Well, I find that also. Sometimes when you're speaking plain English, I'm trying to learn Spanish, so I need to start saying Spanish or English, or whatever language you're speaking. If it's clear and your sentences are based on definitions from the dictionary, you can have a conversation with someone and you can understand basic language / English in my case, and don't listen to the voice that is louder than logic and reasoning. Or, in the words of Chris Tucker, the words that are coming out of my mouth. People usually do say what they feel. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Not out of the abundance of the mind and reasoning so much, but people usually speak based on how they're feeling. And that's normal. But after you've been on the earth for as long as I have, and you've gone through conflict resolution that was not resolved, you say, okay, this is what happened. This is why it happened. And you can pretty much reason and conclude that, okay, somebody just wasn't listening to what either someone else is really saying versus what they are feeling or just hearing based on how they want anything to just be. I'm saying all that to say this. Whatever logic and reasoning means to you, apply it. Even when you don't feel like it, it is a good thing. With that being said, I'm going to play this video. I'm not even going to do a break. Well, yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yes, I is. I'm going to do a short one. I'm going to do this break, and I'm going to play the video, and then I'm going to come back, and then I'm going to go. How long have I been on? Oh, 19 minutes. I can be here a half hour, and that's not too bad from what I understand. When I used to go an hour, it just didn't work out. I need to get this down to inside of 15 minutes, and I'm getting better at it, I promise you. I'm here on Wednesday nights of course, I want to, share my thoughts, views, and comments. And this is just how I can do it. And it's therapy for me. It feels good to come in here right by myself and just talk. Because then I can just speak. Sometimes no one's there. I have a guest. And that's always fun to engage or get supply. Ooh, remind me to tell you about the supply thing. But with that being said, I'm here because I really do believe there's an answer to every question. There's a solution to every problem. But reasoning must be present. Now, I said I was going to take the break, and I'm just dragging on. Please forgive me for that. I'm going to get better, I promise. I'm going to go to the topic, what you call it. Hey, Christine, by the way, if you're still there, Christine, stick her head in and be gone. I know I know what's up with that. But I'm going to read what my topic says. Whew. And this came just as I was about to set up for my live stream. And just listen to this. Send me a text message and tell me if you don't understand some of what I'm saying. What is this? What is this? I don't need this. Oh, man, don't tell me this is going to come up. I got a little technical issue. Don't use. Hold on, I have something that's about to open, but I don't want it to open, so let me close it. All right, sorry about that. So I'm going to read this, and then you can send me a message or an email, travisbridges2@aol.com, or just in the suggestion box. Just tell me if you don't understand what I'm saying, because this came right off the top of the dome just before I came on. And it goes as follows. Logic and reasoning is the foundation of peace. Boy, I'm going to say that again. Logic and reasoning is the foundation of peace. I hope you agree with that. Next, I said, the absence of logical reasoning is the gap that guarantees confusion. Can I say that one more time? The absence of logical reasoning is the gap that guarantees confusion. So let me put them together, because I've got a little more, but I like what I'm doing in terms of breaking this down. Logic and reasoning, and I said is, I guess that should be are. Logic and reasoning are the foundations of peace. The absence of logical reasoning is the gap that guarantees confusion. I'll just keep going now. Establishing rules and agreeing to the principles of order and organization sets the stage for the opportunity to resolve conflict. Conflict is born when stubbornness and stupidity become mates, when they allow selfishness and the need to be right to join in the party. Hardheadedness and uncooperative are soon to be welcomed into the never-ending battle of the war to simply win at any and all cost. This leaves integrity, dignity, and common decency to the slow rise of what truth and transparency is all about. Man, I enjoyed reading that as much as I enjoyed writing it, and I think it's cool, and I think it just is just where it's okay. It's a good place to just close out and end my live stream for now. But I am going to take a short break, and I'm come back with the video, and I'm going to come back after the video just to say good night. But after the promo here, I want you to listen to the video that I'm going to present that I got off of the internet. So stay with me, okay? Don't move. I'll be right back.
The Swimming Pool with Travis Bridges is a talk segment about talking. Talk about talking? Yes, talk about talking. It's designed to bring awareness to how we listen, how we hear, and what we do with the information we receive during communication. The mind is automatically programmed to protect the body and soul. It displays that through each and every encounter we experience. If any part of the body is threatened, the mind will automatically issue the flight command. The flight command to retreat to safety. Well, that same command is also deployed when our ego is threatened. The ego? Yes, the ego. It's so natural and common, it happens oftentimes without us even knowing. Engaging in conversation and staying focused on what is present is considered mental fitness. It strengthens our emotions and helps us to gain control of our circumstances instead of having our circumstances overtake our thinking and our very existence. It's a difficult task to achieve because our feelings, beliefs, and desires are so strong that it causes us to totally disregard even the most common or basic reasoning. This live stream is only here to bring awareness to that subconscious process. Nothing or no one is actually wrong. However, the idea of being open to anything outside of what we've already concluded is golden, especially if the new information is transparent. The Swim developers would like to say thanks for supporting, watching, listening, and sharing this information. Now, back to the swimming pool. Let's dive in and swim.
Let's get logical.
Logic is a branch of philosophy. It's an academic subject. Logic is a four-letter word. Most textbooks will give you a definition like this. But what does that mean exactly? We believe things on the basis of other things. Sometimes that's a strong basis, sometimes not. What do you think of this reasoning? Curtis is a capybara, then he's a rodent. Curtis is not a rodent, so Curtis is not a capybara. This is good reasoning. Even though he is a rodent, he is a capybara, and I lied to you. This is Joe. Now take a look at this one. If Curtis is a capybara, then he's a rodent. Curtis is not a capybara, so Curtis is not a rodent. This is terrible, and it's terrible even though he's not a rodent, not a capybara, and this really is Curtis. It's kind of confusing, isn't it? That's why we need a field of knowledge dedicated to helping us sort the good from the bad. And that's logic. Bad reasoning can start wars, end marriages, land innocent people in prison. So we need to get better at our reasoning, and logic is here to help us do just that.
Logic is here to do just that. Getting better at our reasoning, it's important. And I don't know why I was picked on to be the one to try to bring more awareness to this. But one thing I've learned lately, you can't really express something unless you've really experienced it. Skinny people don't get far with me when they tell me how to lose weight, when they've never had a weight problem. However, when I see someone that's small, that used to be big or fat, and now they're slim and in shape, they can talk to me a little bit because they may have gone through what it takes to put in the discipline to become more healthy. I just use that as an example to say what I'm going to say now. They say that a person who's divorced can't necessarily tell you how to stay married. I've always disagreed with that because people who are divorced may not have stayed married, but actually they can give their testimony and their input on what may have caused them to go separate ways with their significant other. And with that being said, people that have gone through things, one of my favorite books talks about we overcome by the words of our testimony, something to that degree. And you don't have a testimony if you don't have a test. And when you go through something tough and you come out, there's something about it that makes you want to talk about it. And I think that is the universe / God, whoever you call the strong power from within, has a way of getting us to where we can be witnesses, in the earth to all things that are good. Because most people, whenever they go through something, they really do become advocates of, how they got over it or how they got through it. And you can talk about it all day if you haven't experienced. I quarterback from my couch all the time. I do it every Sunday and Thursday and Saturday afternoon during football season. I'm the best at it too. However, I hadn't been in a game since a game has been in me. With that being said, there are some things that I have experienced that I can at least talk about. And if someone is willing to reason and listen, they just may learn something. With that being said, I'm going to giddy on up the highway. Got sleeping to get on, and I'm going to go. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me, and I'm gonna just step out of here. Till the next time. And before I say that next time stuff, it's not gonna hurt you to just listen sometimes. It really won't. It's good to pay attention and to hear. It's what swim is all about. Say what you mean. And make sure, if it's what you feel, let it be consistent with what's actually coming out of your mouth when you're talking. If you speak from the abundance of your heart, sometimes you may not convey the message you think you are, or maybe someone will not get what it is you're saying or want to convey yourself. So with that being said, use your intelligence. I was told that we use less than 5% of our full potential. Well, this is one thing you can strengthen and exercise. I'm still working on it. Focusing on what's coming out of your mouth, filtering it through how you're feeling and what you know to be consistent with what's actually coming out of your mouth. So it's kind of like juggling 3 in 1. You got to be maybe intelligent or know how to apply the knowledge of what I'm saying. And that's, examine your feelings. Always, don't suppress them. And I'm not saying that at all. But if you're going to speak on your feelings, let it be sensible, logical, reasonable, and let it be consistent with what's coming out your lips. T-Morrow, what's up, dog? All right, Christine, thank you for hanging out with me and the other 2 folks that are with me. I really do appreciate it. Till the next time, find someone you need to say I love you to. Don't just say it, but mean it. Hey, can I read my thing one more time? Morrow, you just got here. I'm going to read this. You can go back and watch, but I want to read this one more time, and then I'm really going to go because I am almost over my time. So here we go. Logic and reasoning is the foundation of peace. The absence of logical reasoning is the gap that guarantees confusion. Establishing rules and agreeing to the principles of order and organization sets the stage for the opportunity to resolve conflict. Conflict is born when stubbornness and stupidity become mates. When they allow selfishness and the need to be right to join the party, hardheadedness and uncooperative are soon to be welcomed into the never-ending battle of the war to simply win at any and all costs. This leaves integrity, dignity, and common decency to the slow rise of what truth and transparency is all about. I would go into what I mean by that last thing, but maybe another time. Just think about it. Let me just read the last thing one more time. All of that, what I said, leaves integrity and dignity and common decency. Integrity, dignity, and common decency to the slow rise, meaning that when you get into, well, I said I wasn't going to, I can't help it though. When you get all this stubbornness and stupidity and, the need to be right and the hardheadedness and all of that stuff, when you get that in the mix, you suppress integrity, dignity, and common decency. But when that battle is all over, then there's no more fussing and fighting and the need to be right and all that stuff. The slow rise of truth and transparency rises out of the ashes. The integrity, dignity, and common decency rises from all of the confusion. And that's what truth and transparency is about. Don't tell me I didn't have a good message. I like that myself, and I thought it was cool. And that's where I'm going to get on up the road and go. Listen, do me a favor. Find somebody you need to say I love you to. Don't say it. Show it, mean it, and let it be true. Till the next time, take good care of yourself. And do me a favor. I'm hanging out this weekend for a public gig. And if you'd like to check me out and come hang out with me, let me know. I can get you in and you could hang out with me. And it's going to be cool because I've got a couple of other artist friends that's going to hang out with me. And we're going to do a big old outside thing. I'm going to take my saxophone and I'm going to slap the devil all upside his head. I'm going to have a good time, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank God for life, health, and strength, and no rain on this Saturday. Till then, take good care of yourself. All right? Prove what, Christine? Prove what? What is she asking me to prove? Well, whatever. Anyway, take care. Good night. Love you guys.
SWYM. Swim. Say what you mean. As much as this information is designed to bring awareness to how we listen, hear, and process, it is also a form of therapy. The little person inside of all of us needs to be heard. As adults, even listening to ourselves is a form of healing, strengthening, and growth. It's okay to speak, talk, express yourself, and be heard, even if you're the only listener. If our testimony does anything at all for anyone else, that makes the continued effort worth the time. Get the words out. You'll feel better, and that's a promise. Thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate it.
You know, sometimes it seems like all the good times are gone. But you got to keep on searching. You got to keep on keeping on. Keep on keeping on. For example, take me standing right here today. I would not be here with you if I believed the things that the people say. You got to keep on searching. Keep on searching. Keep it on the cool side. Keep it on the cool side. Keep on